In my last video, I revealed to you the new sofa that I ordered that I'm very excited about because we had our old sectional for almost 20 years. So this has really completely changed the feeling of this room. And I also shared some ideas that I had for some extra seating since now this sofa does not have the space that the old sectional had. So I mentioned that I wanted to find a chair for this corner to create a little seating arrangement on this side of the room. And I did find it. So let me go ahead and give you a closer look. So here is the chair that I found at Goodwill. Actually, I found 3 of them. They were $7 each. I really only wanted to get the one chair, but my husband convinced me to buy the other 2 as well. They look to me to be the type of chairs that you see at a doctor's office waiting room. I mean, they're very sturdy. The seat is nice and wide. They are very comfortable. And I like the fabric. I don't know if you can tell, but it's this blue and like a cream color, which works out really well here because I have a lot of blue in the Persian rug. So I think this chair is comfortable enough to put on this side of the table. Makes a little sweet seating arrangement here, but it's still compact enough that it doesn't stick out too much into the way of the traffic and fits nicely in that little space between the wall and the table. I also shared with you these little footstools that I thrifted for $35 for both of them, and these were actually from Facebook Marketplace. And I mentioned that I'm going to be recovering the seat, and I have 2 fabric choices. I love both of them, and I'm a little bit torn as far as which one to use. Let me give you a closer look so you can see, and actually let me kind of put it on the seat so you can get an idea. So I have this really classic plaid, and then I have this animal print. Something like this. First choice is this plaid. It's a really beautiful plaid. The colors are very neutral, very subtle, timeless looking. I really like that. And that also would play very nicely with this gold chairs that I have here. And I think it would also do well with the color of the sofa. The other choice, which Oliver is very comfortable sitting on it, but it's this animal print. I really love this. This is a very understated animal print. I see a lot of animal prints that have like a very yellow, strong yellow undertones and are very busy. But this one is just 2 colors, this very neutral background, and then the actual spots are in this taupey brown. So I really like that as well. Again, I think this animal print pairs really well with the rug and with the sofa. And there is a designer, I can't remember who it is, but his mantra is, when in doubt, add animal print. So I'm really leaning towards this one. And I think by using the animal print, it's just going to add that little bit of fun to the room. I don't want the room to look too proper, too staid. And I think this is just going to give it that playful nod, whereas the plaid is much more traditional. And I'm going to see if I can still use it somewhere in the room, but just not on the footstools. One of my viewers suggested that I use that animal print fabric on this ottoman. So I thought it was such a great idea. I did go ahead and do that, and I love how it turned out. Here are the 3 pieces finally finished, and I am so pleased with how they turned out. I think the animal print was definitely the right choice to make for the fabric. I think it just really elevates all 3 pieces. I'm especially pleased with this ottoman, which looks completely different. I think it actually looks like a piece of furniture from a high-end furniture store. But I actually only paid $5 for it a couple years ago from Goodwill. So let me go ahead and put these 3 pieces in their final place. Let me share with you how the room looks so far. The chair that I was looking for has been found, and I think the color of the fabric, the wood tones, and the shape of the chair really complement the rest of the furniture pieces in the room. Then we have the little footstools that I placed in front of the fireplace. And those can be used for extra seating or for little tables if I need them to. And then the larger ottoman I placed in front of this chair. And this can also be used as extra seating if I need it to be used that way. For the next video, I will be sorting out the pillow cover situation. I do have some ideas on what I'm going to be doing. I did consider using the same animal print fabric for the pillow covers, but then I thought that it would be too much to have so much animal print in the room. I think a little bit is fun and makes the room a little whimsical and elevated, but too much is just too much of a good thing. So I will be doing something different with the pillow covers. So come back for the next video and I will share my ideas with you then. We made this little seating area in the front of our house a few years after we moved in. And the reason for this space is because we really don't have a usable backyard. Our backyard is very sloped, and I really don't have anything planted there. So it was always our intention to have this little space in front of the house so that we could sit down, have a cup of tea, enjoy the flowers in the garden. And even though this seating area is surrounded by flowers, I always like to add a little bit of color to these 2 planters that are along this wall. So early June, I added these flowers to the planters, and it's been a few weeks. They filled out very nicely, and it was always my intention to add some ivy that would hopefully climb on these metal lattice panels that are on the sides of that wall fountain. But I have been to every garden center in my area, and none of them have English ivy, which I think is just so strange because I've never had any trouble finding it before. I did look online, and there are several sources that will sell you live ivy plants, but they're expensive, and so is the shipping. So I remember that I had some ivy growing in this area of my garden. You can see them there peeking out. I've pulled most of it out because it tends to climb on the siding and it leaves these ugly marks on the siding. But I thought, why not dig up some of these ivy plants that are still here and plant them in those planters and hope that they will eventually, with time, climb and cover those metal panels. I'm optimistic that eventually the ivy that I planted here will cover those metal panels, but I'm feeling a little bit impatient because it's pretty bare right now. So I remember that I bought these faux ivy picks from Hobby Lobby last year when they were 40% off because I thought I'll probably find a use for them eventually. So my idea was, why not put them in these planters and just train them up the metal, and this way, even though I do prefer having real plants in my landscaping and in my pots, I thought this was the perfect way to make use of those ivy bushes and give the illusion that the real ivy is climbing up the metal panels. So eventually, when the real ivy does start to grow and take over, I will be removing these faux ivy picks. But I think for now, they give a really nice look to the planters. And because it was such a beautiful day, I decided to do a little bit of cleaning, remove the spider webs, sweep the dry leaves away, and to set the table for an afternoon tea.
Thank you so much for stopping by today. If you enjoyed today's video, you might enjoy this one as well.